All right, it's an interesting trade deadline for the Mets and the Yankees. Mets very active before the trade deadline. The Yankees, they made a couple of moves that Yankee fans are probably not too happy about. We're going to talk about both teams, and we're going to do it with my guy, John Jastremski. You see him on SNY as a contributor, also the host of the New York podcast on The Ringer. JJ, what's going on, man?
Dexter, always a pleasure to see you.
Always.
Clearly, there's a lot happening, so you got the right man for the job, my man.
I got the right guy here to talk about this. Now, listen, we could talk about the Mets or the Yankees first. I'm going to let you pick. What do you want to talk about?
Let's do the Mets. Yeah,
you want to go to the Mets first?
Yeah, let's
okay.
get right to it.
Let's talk about the Mets. 6 deals in 6 days. They're not calling it a fire sale. I think you and I might say kind of looks like a fire sale.
Yeah, I'm calling their bluff on that one.
Calling their bluff on that, okay.
It is a clear fire sale, and I think what you saw here is that Billy Epler was probably given the edict by Steve Cohen. All of this money I spent going back to the offseason, I did not get the return on investment. You think about what you got, or lack thereof, out of Max Scherzer.
Yep.
You didn't have Justin Verlander for the first month. You lose Edwin Diaz to the WBC. Like, there were a variety of different reasons why this 2023 Mets season went the way that it did. But ultimately, you looked at where the Mets were at. Even with the record north of the 500 mark in the month of July, you still didn't get the vibe this team was going to go and break through and make noise in the playoffs. Dare I say, even get into the playoffs and actually have a chance to go and win the whole darn thing. So the Mets wisely pivoted, and they go and trade off a bunch of guys. What surprised me today, though, is thinking about next year's team, where they're not going to have Justin Verlander. So you're going to be in serious need of starting pitching in a big-time way. And it's a clear signal, right? You go and trade Scherzer and Verlander and Canna and all these guys, Tommy Pham, what have you. They are signaling that 2024 is going to be far more of a retool, and maybe the championship window for this team is not going to start until 2025 or 2026.
Should Mets fans buy this? This is a team that came off of a 101-win year prior. This year, obviously, as you mentioned, is disappointment. Now you're talking about retooling 2024, possibly not being competitive till 25 or 26. Is that something you think Mets fans are going to buy or going to get behind?
I don't think they're going to love the idea that you see this pivot and this about face just after 1 year celebrating the signing of Max Scherzer, and then you go back to last winter, you're celebrating the signing of bringing in a great Justin Verlander, a future first ballot Hall of Famer. The reason I think Met fans can get behind this, though, it's obvious. If you look at Major League Baseball, you are not winning with an older team. That's just all there is to it. If you think you can build a team through free agency and free agency alone, you're gravely mistaken. I mean, look at the teams that are doing it the right way throughout baseball. They might spend money, like the Los Angeles Dodgers. They also develop. The Houston Astros, they have said goodbye to so many great players, including Justin Verlander, who they just get back, and Garrett Cole, and guys within their lineup like George Springer, and yet they keep churning because their player development is outstanding. I applaud the Mets for acknowledging, hey, guess what? This is not working. We need to change course. What I am a little surprised about, though, is how quickly and how swiftly this all materialized in about 72 hours.
Yeah, it was very quick, and I was going to ask you that if you thought it was right to give the Mets and Steve Cohen credit for saying, hey, this was a sunk cost. We invested in these pitchers, this didn't work, and now we're going to move on. Do you think the future's bright?
I think it can be because of their resources. Remember, they still have the resources. They want to go in free agency. Now, I don't think they're going to go and sign, let's say, 3 starting pitchers. I don't think the Mets this particular offseason are going to act the same way they did last year and the way that they did 2 years ago, but they still have Steve Cohen's checkbook, which means they still can go and add to this team. And I do like the fact that they're acknowledging we got to get younger. Now, hitting on prospects, not an easy thing to do. Just ask the New York Yankees, who thought they were set for years with their baby bomber core and how that panned out from 2017 and beyond. But if you hit on them properly, it's the right way to build an organization.
All right, so JJ thinks the future can be bright for the Mets. Let's talk about the Yankees. That is your team. You talked about the baby bombers from 2017 and where the Yankees are now. This trade deadline, 2 relievers. Yankee offense hasn't been that good. What did you make of what Brian Cashman did here at the trade deadline?
A whole lot to do about nothing. Now, in Brian Cashman's defense for this particular trade deadline, the failures go back to the offseason. The failures are not necessarily about what didn't happen on August the 1st, because my caveat, Dex, is who are the Yankees getting from an offensive perspective? You weren't getting Shohei Ohtani. He's not getting traded. You weren't getting Juan Soto. Not getting traded. Cody Bellinger. Everybody thought the Yankees were in on Cody Bellinger. Well, the Cubs rattled off a bunch of games in a row, and the Cubs decided, hey, guess what? We're not trading Cody Bellinger. So who was the impact bat that the Yankees could have gone and put in this lineup that was going to transform them. They dropped the ball in the offseason by not getting a left fielder. Hal Steinbrenner said after the Carlos Rodon signing, we're not done. They were done, and now market wasn't robust as far as offensive players are concerned, and the Yankees fall short in that regard. I think if the Yankees dropped the ball here, they should have sold. This team is not any good. I mean, let's call it like it is. They have Aaron Judge back. They still stink. They're 3 games over 500. They're in dead last in the American League East. They're going nowhere. This idea and this narrative that I have to hear from people within the Yankee organization that, oh, if we get in the playoffs, we can make noise. Oh, really? They were in the playoffs last year, and they got thoroughly outclassed by the Houston Astros. What has changed? I'll tell you what's changed. Their lineup, which wasn't that good to begin with last year outside of Aaron Judge and his record-setting heroics, it's one of the worst lineups in all of baseball. The numbers do not lie. So all of a sudden now, even if by some miracle the Yankees get in the playoffs, they're going to make noise? Give me a break. The Yankees had an opportunity to reset, retool a little bit. I would have liked to see them go in that direction.
So you would have liked to see the Yankees reset and retool. They don't do that. Where do you think Brian Cashman and this organization goes from here? Because you're not a believer in them making a run to the postseason. Where does this team go from here, especially when it doesn't seem like they're the aggressive buyers like they used to be at the deadline?
I wish I hadn't answered that question. That was going to be rational and logical. But I really don't have one for you because the Yankees thought they were all in on this particular year. They bring back Aaron Judge. They bring back Anthony Rizzo. They go and get Carlos Rodon. Dex, I think they are stunned that they're in this position. They don't grasp the concept of how dire and how severe their situation is, where you think about in 2015, 2016, you knew you had a pipeline of players that were ready, that were close, even though many of them did not pan out. But like that excitement was there, and you saw it materialize in 2017. The Yankees are an old, declining baseball team, and the Yankee brass and their front office and their manager, they are delusional in thinking what they are is not what they are. You know, the record and the performance and what you see on the field, it does not lie. You're a last place team. That's all there is to it.
Last place team for the Yankees right now. Some fans are still keeping hope alive for the postseason. JJ's telling you that you don't need to do that.
On it.
Don't need to do it. That is John Jastremski. You see him on SNY, also the host of the New York podcast on The Ringer. JJ, always good to talk to you. Great to talk some baseball.
Pleasure's all mine.
Try to have some hope for the Yankees next time.
I mean, it'd be nice. I wish I had Yankee playoff baseball to look forward to. I wish.
I know you do. That's JJ. I'm Dex. See you later, guys.